Hello. Hi everyone. It's Tuesday morning, 9 o'clock, as usual, every Tuesday. If you're a regular here, you'll know I go live, and usually it's a chat, but this week I decided I hadn't drawn an eye for a while, so I thought we'd do that, and everyone can draw along with me. So I'm just gonna wait till everything sort of comes up and things are happening. There I am. I've got my iPad in front of me here. Just let me make sure I've got no sound on that. Sorry guys, I'm just setting up. I need to be able to see comments. Okay, there we go. Let me know that you can hear me, and the sound's all good. So then I'll spin this around and face it down onto my artwork. Why can't I see comments here? Oop. Hold on. There we go. Sorry guys. I'm just trying to see what the comments are on my iPad, and for some reason it's not letting me. Ah, there we go. Facebook changes things quite regularly, doesn't it? Alright. Okay, now I can see some. Hi Farley and Elaine are here, Karen, Deb, Kate, Jenny, Christina, Elizabeth, Di. Alright, cool. So hopefully I'll go back through and check comments as we're going. So if you have any questions, of course, pop them in. All right, great. Thanks, Liz. The sound is good. Wonderful. So, yeah. So, oh, you're in Norway. Awesome. So, that is... Oh, my comments on this iPad are being stupid. Hold on. I don't know why it's doing this to me today. Normally you just go sideways and you can see all the comments, but it's not going to. Okay. All right, I might just set it up on my computer as well so that I can, just bear with me one sec while I get Facebook onto my computer. I'd hate to miss any questions, and I'm filming with my phone, of course, and it's really hard to sometimes see the comments on the phone. So, all right. All right. Okay. All right. I can just keep checking over on my computer as we're going. So I'll try and remember to keep an eye on that. So, all right. So like I said, we're all, usually I just do a chat on a Tuesday, but today we're doing a draw along. So we're doing this leopard eye. So don't stress if you can't make this live. Of course you wouldn't be here, but this reference image and line art, it's all on one page. So it's only small, is available along with the equipment list in the event, and also the recording will be up there straight away afterwards as well. So don't worry. And what I'm going to do, I'll keep this one up. I'm going to have it, I'll put it in my membership, of course, but it'll also be in all my Facebook groups, and I'll even put it on YouTube. So you should be able to find it, no problem at all. But I'll share the links for all of that afterwards. Okay. Again, all right. I don't know what is going on here. Okay, guys, let me spin this around. And there we go. Okay. So let's move some stuff out the way here. Get some lights happening. All right, so like I said, you've got your reference image there, which I just wanted to, so you'll print this out. I just want to cut this reference image out so I can have it sitting next to the drawing a bit easier. So we can have it just sort of sitting there. I might put it under there a bit so it doesn't interrupt with the camera. I will come down a bit lower yet. All right, hopefully I'm still on. Yep, okay. All right, so I want to just go through the pencils for a second. So we've got, you would have seen again in the discussion of the event, that's where I posted everything, so the equipment list was there. So I'm using Stabilo Carbothello pencils because they're my favourite. I do have a Pit Pastel in amongst them, which is 175. It's a really dark brown. Okay, so they're sort of ones that I picked off the reference image that I felt would work all right. And then I've also got a couple of sticks. I've got black for the dots, spots. And this is a brown sort of colour, a light brown for the undercoat of this lighter area. Now, you don't really need those. Because this is only small, you could get away just doing pencils. Well, I just want to move them out the way so we don't mess with anything. Let me try and bring this down a little bit. Just bear with me while I try and set this up a little bit that you'll be able to see it a bit easier. Okay, lighting. There's a lot of shadows happening. Let me move that around that side and try and get rid of the shadows there a bit. Okay, that's a bit better. All right. Is that close enough? I can't get, if I get too close, I can't see myself. The phone gets in the way. All right. Okay. All right, guys. Hopefully that's a good enough picture for you to check it out. So now I'm working on sand-coloured pastel matte, and I've just taped with clear sticky tape around the edge of it. Okay. Now, I think we're just going to do the eye first. I'm not going to block in the fur or anything. We'll just get the eye off and started. So, like I said, you can either watch, or if you've transferred your line art, you might want to draw along with me. So, let's have a look. I'm just going to get all my colours here and figure out what I want to start with. I've got, what I usually like to start with is white and black. Okay, sorry if that's very noisy. Let me try and stop doing that. Okay, so I usually like to get the pupil in first, which of course is black. And I've got some little areas where the reflection is in there, so I don't want the black on top of those areas. Okay, and I'm also going to try and keep my hand out of the way so you can also see what I'm doing. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to, I want that a solid black in this area here where the pupil is. Okay, so we're going to get that in, and then I'm just going to use my white, even though the reflection isn't white. I just want to get it in as white so that I can then just add some blues and other colours to it later as I sort of see I need it. I feel like my hand keeps getting in the way a bit. And the reason I do that, because you can always go, the recording will be up straight afterwards. Okay. The reason I like to get white down with that reflection is, rather than go over black, it's better to be more, if you want a colour to be bright, it's better to put it straight down onto the paper. With pastels, you can go over darks, but I find it's better to just get it, first of all, blocked in like that. So it's, you know, you're going to remain bright there. Okay, let's have a look. What else do we want to do? Just getting my blues. So I had a light, a medium, and a dark blue. So we've got 760 in the Carbothellos, the really dark blue. It's actually called, I think it's lamp black, but it's actually a really dark blue. Then 440 is a medium blue, and 435 is a light blue. So what I want to do is, I'm just marking with my darker blue, just where that line sort of is around there, just so I don't lose it. And then I'm going to get my medium blue, so my 440, and I'm just going to lightly put a layer of it down over the whole eye. So I've looked at the eye and chosen sort of a mid colour, a mid-tone of what I think is on that eye as sort of the base coat. And you can see I'm not pushing hard. Everything is all light layers. I want to put this all over the eye because I think it's sort of pretty much all over there. I do try and bring my lines all towards the pupil because I feel that's the way sort of the texture and marks are on an eye. Even up in this dark area, we'll put some of this down as well. Okay, and you can see I haven't put a lot of pressure down because you can still see the paper. Okay, so just a light layer like that. And then what else have we got? I think I can see a bit of green. So the green I chose, it's called, I think it's leaf green middle. It's 570. But I'm going to put a touch of it through here. So again, just a light layer. And then I think a touch of it through here. You can push your colours, like you don't have to have them exactly the same as the picture. If you don't want, you can make them a bit brighter. I think that's the only place I could see a bit of green for now. We might glaze with our green later on. And then what else did I see? I think I decided there was a bit of brown in there as well. So again, this is a middle brown. So if you don't have Carbothellos, I tried to make it so that you could just colour match. So I might add a touch of this brown, 625. If you think you can see other colours, then go for it. Add some other colours in there. So again, just in these lighter areas and probably down through here as well, along this edge, I think I'm seeing some of this brown. Or a brown, anyway. Again, light layers. The beauty of pastel matte, which is why I love it so much, is you can just slowly build up your layers, and it can take it like 20 layers or more if you're really light with it. And then definitely along through here, I think there's some browns. We're going to make this a lot darker at the top. In a minute, but we'll I'm just sort of wanting to get some of these browns in first. I might put it all through there, maybe. Okay. Browns. I think there's more dark blues through there. Okay. Now we might bring our lighter blue in next. Just hoping everyone can see this, all right? Let me check comments. You're watching at work. That's funny. All right, so now I'm going to bring my light blue in and just look at where there's sort of lighter lines, isn't there? So I feel like I can see lighter lines sort of going up into the eye area with this lighter blue. So I'm not going to put it all over, I'm just going to put it in areas I think I can see it. It sort of goes a bit lighter up through there, either side of that line, and it's a bit lighter down here. And the same with my dark blue. So this is the 760. That light blue was 435. So now I'm going to start looking at where it's a bit darker. So it's really dark up in here. So I'm going to start putting some of this darker blue over the top of this area. Again, I'm not pushing hard, I'm just slowly building this up. Anywhere I think I can see it's a little bit darker. Along this edge here. I'll move my pencils off the reference image so I can actually see it. That would help. I love drawing eyes. I think it's just nice to take your time. Even along here we'll bring in a black, but it is darker, so we can add a bit there. A few darker marks sort of coming down into here. I feel like I need a bit more of my brown down in here again, so we can just add a touch more in there. All right, and now I'm going to, what are we going to do? We're going to bring our original medium blue back in now, the 440. And I'm going to start adding some of it back into it. So when we can mix colours, which is pretty much what we're doing all the time. Sorry, I've got a croaky voice. So I'm constantly mixing on the palette, on the paper. Okay, and I'm now bringing this blue back in is we're finally getting to a stage that our tooth is starting to fill up. Oh, not fill up, sorry. We've still got plenty of tooth, but what I mean is you can't really see the paper through it as much. We're getting there slowly. And once we get to that stage, that's when we can really start to just add really subtle changes. What I might do is, I've got that really dark brown, the 175 Pit Pastel. So what we might do is start to bring that in as well, where you can see it's really quite dark. So I might mix that in a little bit with that and the 760, that really dark blue. I don't really want to add black into this area yet because that's where I want to save the black for. Okay, and if you feel you've gone a little bit too dark, you can bring your blue back in and come back over it, or your brown. So this is where I was saying you get to a point, you can, if you've worked it up lightly, you can just add colours straight over the top. Okay, up along this top edge here as well. We want it a little bit darker, so I'm just going to bring that dark brown in a little bit. And the dark blue. Okay, it's very dark, straight above that reflection. And I think over this side there's a lot more of this brown and the green, of course, in here. And then we're going to bring the cream in as well. So let's just get more of this brown. So these are the same colours now I've used throughout. So the brown's the 625. I feel like, for some reason, I'm feeling like I can see a touch of pink on this side. So I've got the Caput Mortem, which is 642. I use Caput a lot in the lids, mouths, you know, inner eye, but I'm just feeling like I can see a touch of it in there, so I might just add a little touch. It's kind of, my printer prints a little bit blue, so I could be seeing things a little bit differently. We're going to come and add some shapes to that reflection too soon. And so it is definitely darker on this side. You'll note a lot of times if the main reflection is sort of here, then the opposite side is the lightest. It's like the light's hitting there and it's bouncing out on the opposite side. So down through here is your lightest area. I'm just going to keep building up and adding more details. I think that line sort of comes through there. That brown in. I think I want a bit more green too in here. And then I'm going to bring my cream in as well. That'll help a bit. Let's just get that a bit darker in there. And we also need to get our details in our reflection, which will also help. A bit more green in here. Okay, let's bring our blue back in, our mid blue. And that can blend a bit with some of this darker blue. And up into here. very lightly. I might also bring the light blue back in as well. So the lighter blue was 435. Just mix it in up here a little bit. But you see now I don't have any paper showing, but I've still got plenty of tooth on here that I can now start to look at the finer details. And I think I might even add a touch of green down the bottom here, maybe. I think I need to be a little bit darker still over this side, maybe. So bring my dark blue back in. Such a versatile colour this is. Like I said, I think it's called lamp black, but it's a really deep blue, and it's so good when you don't want, sometimes black is too much. So keep in mind this is our lightest area through here. I think I've got that a bit high up, but that's all right, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if not exactly the same. What else have we got up here? Let's start to look at putting marks into our reflection. He actually looks like he's in a cage, maybe, but I don't really want that. I'm just gonna put a few dark marks through here where I can see some darks. I want it to look more like a tree or something, maybe. And then we need to get some blue in there. So the dark marks I've just done with the dark blue, but I could bring up, you might want a bit of black in there as well if there's some really dark ones near his pupil. Just reinforce that a bit. And then we need some blue in there. So that's what I was saying, I block it in with white, that reflection, but then that way I can come in and add whatever colours I want to it. It's quite blue just in there. Touch up there. Okay, we just don't want our reflection to look like just a big blob of white, okay? It's always going to reflect what's around. You can bring some white back in if you think you need to reshape it a bit. There's also whites over this side, but we're not going to do them just yet because we haven't finished. Okay, what else did I have? I've got the ivory, which is where I want to bring some of that into the eye here in this light bit at the side. Maybe a bit down here. It's probably a bit too light. I did grab this yellow as well, so it's 690. So maybe that we might see a bit of that in here as well. It comes up this way a bit. You know what? I think I'm seeing a bit of the pink on this side as well. The more you stare at a reference image, the more you'll start to see different colours. Okay. But use whatever you think you're seeing. It doesn't matter. The only time you really want to be really correct with your colours, essentially, would be if you're doing a pet portrait. Of course, the customer's going to want to have their cat or dog or whatever it is looking right. Okay, I can see a bit of light happening up there. Let's get our light blue. Is it our light blue? Probably not our light blue, our medium blue. There's a bit of light happening up through there. I might bring the black in actually around it in a second. That might make it easier to see. Again, I can see a few little light marks kind of in here, so we can put them in. A few little dots there. Oh, sorry, I'm getting my hand in the way. Just bear with me. You can get as detailed as you want as well, of course. Maybe we'll put some of these lights in and see. So instead of white, I'm using the ivory. All right, let's work around it a little bit and see how this is looking. So I'm going to get my black. It's quite a fine black line through here. Goes right up into here. And down here. I'm going to check comments in a second. I'm just going to bring this black around. So this is where I was saying it's really quite black in here. So that's why I was trying to avoid the black in the iris as much, so that we could really sort of get the black happening here. And again, we can come back over black. You don't want a big black area because it can look quite flat. But what we're going to do is come back over it. So let's just bring that in there. Okay, and I'm going to feather that edge a bit so it looks like it's just softly meeting the eye there. We could even bring our dark blue in. There's no really sharp edge there, it's just slowly blending into that eye. And then let me just, up here we're going to be putting our first strokes. So I don't really need to worry about that just yet. In here, we might go with, I'm just trying to think whether we put black down. We might actually go the dark brown in there. We've got this really a lighter area through here too. What colours have I got? Might do that. Let's just do that line in ivory there, and let's do this triangle bit in our dark brown. Okay, so we're just going to block them in. I'm pretty confident I can go fairly solid with that. Okay, let's block them in like that, and then let's start looking at what else we can see here. So along this edge is quite dark, so let's get that in. And then I'm going to, this is the dark blue, so let's lightly, it's much darker at the top, come down over that, and then our, I think I'm going to use the mid blue, the 440. You can see some blue in there. And then I'm gonna add a bit of pink, touch of pink up there, and then let's see what else. We've got a white mark there, a little bit of white there. I think I still need to go a bit darker up the top, so I'm going to get my dark brown and just darken it, because it would be going quite dark. The top of an eye is always fairly dark because it's in shadow from the hairs above, or the brow bone, so we can make sure we go darker up the top. And then down here, so I'm only touching lightly at the moment. I feel like we need more blue maybe. I think I've got it a bit wide as well, so I'm gonna bring that brown in and carve it down a little bit. And I'm just going to soften that edge a bit so I don't have a really sharp edge. We don't want to draw the viewer's eye over there too much, which it will do if it's too sharp a contrast from dark to light. Okay, something like that. Now I'm going to get my Caput Mortem, my pink, and put a few marks in here. It's probably a little bit light. And also then my dark blue, the 760. We're just putting some marks in there. And again, it's got a few little dots. So I'm just going to use the ivory. Okay. All right, let me check comments. Love the colours in the eye. Yep, looks amazing, doesn't it? Yeah, I love the eye colours. Yeah, Cheryl, this video will definitely be in the membership. It'll also be available for free in my Facebook group as well. All right, cool. The other thing I wanted to mention for anyone who is new around here and not used to watching me, I've got a link to my Essentials tier of the Creative Barn, which is my online art membership. And if you follow that link that's in there, if you want to try the Essentials tier, which has over 100 real-time tutorials, right from fundamental art lessons through to full tutorials of animals, it's wildlife and nature, then follow that link and you get 50% off the first month, okay, when you sign up monthly. If you decide after you've signed up monthly you want to stay, then and you want to, if you pay yearly or 6 monthly, it works out cheaper, then just shoot me a message and I can change you across. But it's a great way to test the waters with 50% off. All right. Next, I'm just going to work out of the eye a little bit. So up the top here is quite dark. So I'm just going to use a bit of black up there. And then along this edge, so along that line that was part of the line art. Actually, I might lightly, so up the top here, I've pushed harder because that's really dark up there. But it comes down into blues and that down here. So I'm just going to lightly run a bit of black in there, just to give us a bit of dark happening. Again, through here. What have I got there? Okay. We've got, this section is dark in here. I've got marks everywhere. Through there's lighter, so I'm not going to press as hard, but through here is darker. Okay, and through just here, it's dark. Comes light. So this is, I'm sort of mapping in, I suppose, is what I'm calling it. where I can figure out what areas are dark and what are not, what are light. Even though they're all quite dark, but not as dark as black, essentially. So we'll just put a bit of light through there. Just press light. So I'm just adjusting the pressure that I'm pressing. Again, this side of this mark is dark through here. Come sort of right down there. Just dark, and then I'm just going to press lightly, just so I don't lose where the light area is. And then through here as well. It's a bit lighter. Okay, so I've sort of mapped in where my really darks are. And then, of course, it goes darker down there, but we're going to bring our stick in to do the fur bit. We're just sort of working on the eye at the moment. And then through here, we might just bring some fur strokes out of there. And up through here. Okay, we'll bring some lighter strokes through here as well to create those lashes. I'm just going to push back a bit into that light area with my black. Okay, now what do we want to do? We want to get some different colors here. So we're going to grab our dark blue again, our 760, and I'm just going to add a bit of that on top through here. I might even put a bit of kaput mortem up this end, a bit of pink I can see up there, and also down this end. You gotta love this colour. All my members love it and always laugh when I say kaput mortem all the time because I use it a lot. Alright, I think the black's a bit thicker down here, so let's just thicken that up a bit. Let's see, what else do we have here? A few dark marks here and there, so I'm just going to put a couple of darks in. And then we're going to bring our lighter blue in as well. Just bring that blue up there a bit more. So our next one we're bringing is our 440, so the medium blue. Don't think we probably need light blue, but it's a bit bluer through here. Even if you had like a purple, you could put a purple in there, but the blue and that pink mixed together sort of creates that. But if you don't have the pink, which unless you've got Carbothellos, none of the other brands have that exact colour. I can see some brown in there. I'm going to put a bit of touch of brown in there. Derwents have a similar colour, but not quite the same. It's a kaput mortem. It's just a really handy colour. So even if you just buy one Carbothello, if you've got, say, the whole set of Derwents or something, just invest in a kaput mortem. Alright, I feel like I need to fix that line up. And I also think maybe I do need some lighter blue just through here. or just pressing a bit harder maybe on the other blue. Yeah, maybe I just need to press a bit harder. Just a little bit lighter, just in that area there. Okay. Just going to soften that edge a little bit through here as well. Another thing you can do that I haven't done on this one, but I sometimes will glaze. So if I feel, say I felt I wanted more green in that eye, what you can do is get a green and hold it right at the very end and just let the weight of the pencil do the work. And I also find what it can also help with is blending and making the eye look a little bit smoother. I don't do it till right at the end, but it's just a way you can just let them blend the colours nicely and add another hint of a colour to it. Because the eyes are fairly smooth, so even though we've got all that detail, we still need them fairly smooth and kind of the blurry. But, you know, this one I don't think it's that necessary. But we can, because I've built this up very slowly with light layers, I feel I can keep going. It still has plenty of tooth, I can feel that, but it's at that beautiful stage that I love where I can just, you know, keep messing with it, and it takes the tiniest little details. I need a few more. I shouldn't have messed with it too much. I need a few more darks in there, I think. I might just come back in with that green again, just glaze. Okay, anyway, it doesn't have a lot of green in the picture. I'm just adding more green. Do I only use pastels, or do you mix with other mediums such as coloured pencils? No, I only use pastel. Who was it? Katrine. Yeah, Katrine. No, I only use pastels, but I do have some of my members that do mix a bit of coloured pencil. I don't feel the need to. So it's not really something I bother with. I do have a beautiful set of coloured pencils here, but I just don't use them. They're a bit slow. That's probably the main reason. I find I'm a lot quicker. Coloured pencils don't blend as easily, so that's why I prefer the pastel. All right. So in this area here, there's a couple of light bits there where the light's catching it. So I'm just going to put a blue there. And then I'm just going to use the dark blue as well. So again, I'm going to use that dark blue, the 760, to work in through here and blend with the pink. I think that needs to be a bit blacker through here, maybe. Black line there. If you think they might be too bright, what you've put down, just very lightly go over the top with a darker colour. Okay, so through here. Put a bit of blues in there. Actually, let's get it all marked in. Let's get it put in first with this the dark blue first. I want to get rid of the paper, so I'm going to just go in over the top of these with the darker blue and get rid of that paper coming through. Then I can mix the black with it. It's not really any sharp edges through here, it's all quite soft. I can bring the pink back in. So that's the beauty of pastel, you can just bring over the top. Well, in saying that, that's the beauty of pastel matte. I know there's a new pastel paper out. I haven't had a chance to try it yet from Canson. But here in Australia, we've been pretty lucky with our pastel from Clairefontaine. I haven't really had many problems with it. Not like I know everyone over in the UK especially have had a lot of trouble. Whereas we haven't really. I'm just bringing out some hair strokes out there. Again, out through here. I'm going to block in a minute. I just need to add, I'm going to bring that pink back in. And it's a little bit lighter just sort of through here. So again, I'll just push a little bit harder with my blues. Okay, that'll do for now, I think. We can always mess with it later. Okay, next. Now, like I said, you don't have to have sticks, but if you do, that's great. It's just quicker. So you could build this all up with first strokes, but it is quicker if you can get it blocked in. Now, the paper color I chose being the sand colored pastel matte, it actually, I'm just going to add a few of this color through here as well. It could work anyway because it's, you know, it's kind of similar color to what's in this Leopard anyway. But I just wanted it a bit darker, essentially. I felt it needed to be a bit darker. So this color I've chosen is a little bit darker than the background paper, the sand. So I'm just going to get some of this down through here. Again, I'm not trying to clog the paper at all. I'm just lightly putting it throughout. Down here, there. Okay, and what I do, I use a sponge tool like this. That's got green all over it. I didn't think to grab a clean sponge tool, which would have helped. Let me have a look here. What have we got? Maybe that side. No, I've got a lot of green on these. Sorry, I didn't think. They're all filthy, my sponge tools. You can use your finger. Okay, you can push it in with your finger if you need, but I'm just gonna try and get this on here. Clean that off a little bit. Okay. Oh, it's too dark. It's too dirty. But a finger will do, or a sponge tool I find, or actually even a paper stump might work as well. But what you need to do when you're using a stick on pastel matte, you need to push the stick into the paper. Okay, if you're coming back over the top with pencil, then you definitely need to get that stick pushed in. Otherwise it will clog your paper up too quick. Okay, so I've got that pushed in. The sponge tool especially is good over large areas. Okay, now we're going to put some black in. And this black through here. It's a bit of black up in here. Black. Right there. There's a big spot of black here. Now this is a leopard, so the spots don't have to be exactly where I have them. Okay, all good to go through there. That's fine. All right, let me wipe my fingers. Again, you can use a sponge tool to push that in, or your finger on this small area. I'm gonna opt for the sponge tool. The other thing on a bigger portrait, you could use, you can either add water to your pastel and turn it to a paint, or you can use gouache, black gouache, and what it does, it makes it less messy if you first, because usually when you're doing a big portrait of like a tiger or something, you want those black spots put in, or stripes put in. So like this, of course, every time I lean on this, I'm going to get black all over me. Whereas if you've painted it in gouache first, in a black gouache, and let it dry, your pastel will go back over the top, no problem, but you also don't have that mess happening. Okay, so, all right. So that's my block in of the fur. Okay, let me answer some questions. Okay, you've got watercolor pencils, awesome, that'll work too. Yeah, I'm doing pastels, but yeah, whatever you've got, as long as you're doing some, as long as you're doing something, that's great. Anytime we get to be creative is good time. All right, I'm just trying to see these questions. What tape do you use around the painting? This is just plain, clear, sticky tape, okay? It pulls off the pastel mat really easily. So, do you only have to push in the sticks? Yeah, I don't push the pencils in. I use my pencils to blend with each other, but I don't push them in to the paper at all. They're just, that's it, they're used to blend. But the reason you've got to push the sticks in, if you don't push the sticks into the paper, then you're not going to be able to come back over with your pencils, okay? Dark sand, your colours are not as bright as light sand. You have to find, oh, Farley, yes. If you're using a darker pastel paper, then yeah, your colours may not appear as bright. So what I do when I'm using, so if I want to do a really bright flower, or a bright bird, say, or a bright green lizard, I don't know, I'll use a really pale paper. So flowers, I'll quite often use white if I want it really bright, but a light grey pastel mat is really good. It's really, really pale. All right, next I'm just looking at some of these undertones of colour. So I can see brown sort of through in here. So I'm just going to put a bit of brown with my pencil in there. I'm looking at the fur direction as well, the hair direction, so I'm just marking it in like that. Where else can I see some brown? Maybe down in here. Down in here a little bit. Down through here. A bit darker. Maybe a little bit up through there. more so just this area here. This through here is more of a goldy colour, so that's where this 690, it's like a yellow ochre. It's not really going to stand out that great at the moment. We might add some strokes in there later, but we'll just put a little bit of it down. That's pretty much the only places I can see it. Might add a little bit to there as well. Okay, so now we're going to just build up our fur strokes or hair strokes. So let's go with, we might start with our dark brown, and it is the 175 Pit Pastel. So if you can see there, you could see a lot of dark through the hair strokes, so you need to get some of them in. Even though the hair's quite light, you do need those darks underneath. So I'm sort of looking at the fur direction, which is going over this way, and length. So it's quite long as it comes along through here, and then gets a bit shorter. I will bring my black in as well, but I'm just going to get some of these dark browns in first. We're just going to build up. We usually go from dark to light. Okay, so there's some long ones through here. And I always say this is sort of my mapping in stage. So I'm kind of just going around, figuring out which direction the fur is going in, and sort of how long it is in each area. Not a lot of the darker colour through there. Put a few little marks in, just lightly in here. Okay, let's come down here. It's quite short. And again through here. Well, hopefully my hand's not in the way too badly. Right, I've already been an hour. I thought this would only take an hour, but I'm shocking with time. So we're going to be at least another half an hour yet. So, but don't worry if you're only allowed an hour of spare time. This is recorded, so it will be fine. You can head off if you need. Fur can be a bit boring, or you could really love it. I enjoy it if I'm teaching like this. I'm always trying to rush because I feel like everyone's probably bored watching. But oh, hopefully I dropped out for a second there, guys. Hopefully I'm back on. Yeah, or you can love it because it's really therapeutic, actually. When you want to just wander off, if you're doing this by yourself, of course, with no one chattering in your ear, then you could just go off in that lovely little creative zone that we all try to strive to get. Okay, so it's quite dark all down here, so that's why I'm adding more and more of these brown marks through here. Through here. Again, I'm keeping an eye on direction. And then we have a few marks through here. We'll bring our black in as well in a second. Okay, so I'm going to get that black. And I'm going to mark in some areas that are a bit darker. There's like a bit of a spot there. And around these black blobs, I'm going to pull some of the black hair sort of out from there. Going like this direction. Try and get my hand out the way. A bit of dark sort of coming through there too, isn't there? There's a few dark marks in there. And of course up through here. It's like a black blob there. There's another sort of black blob about there. It's all these just little tiny things you notice, like just this little black spot there, that will help to make your painting look more realistic, because no animal is perfect, of course. So each one has these little differences. Let's just bring some black out from that edge of the eye. Again, so we don't end up with a straight line there. Okay, and here where we've put our black in, I'm just gonna extend those edges. And right here, the hair is kind of coming towards us maybe, which is why it looks like it's really short. So again, adjust your strokes to make it look shorter, so more like little dots. And the other thing, I don't know if you notice, I'm pretty quick at doing hair strokes. But I'm trying to stagger them as well. If you go really slow and are trying to be precise, it doesn't look as real. Okay, so, and I was told I lift my pencil at the end, which I didn't realize I do, but I obviously do. I'm going to push back on that dot there, push back up that way. Again here, I'm pushing back into the lighter area. And then when we get to our lights, they're going to push into the dark. And it's fairly dark just in that little area there. Okay, up here, again we're just pushing that black into the light. It's not a lot of dark up through here, it's a lot lighter, so that will do. Alright, I've done the blacks, I'm going to throw some browns in. Oh, it is a warmer fur, isn't it? Oh, it'll go lighter though, Kathy. No, Dad said it's never boring. That's good. I feel like I should be a bit wider there, but maybe not. I'm just going to get some browns. So the 625, I feel like I do want to get some browns in here. I'm hoping once I get the ivory on, it will lighten it right up. But we sort of, you can tell I'm trying to go dark to light. So this is the brown that I sort of put down earlier. I'm now bringing it back in more as actual hair strokes. Okay, let's bring our ivory on top and see how it's going to look. So 105. So let's try and bring some of these lighter ones through here. Again, they're not all perfect. Okay. So again, I'm just going to build up these lighter strokes. And this is where I think I do lift. I lift the pencil. And we also can come across onto the black. In places we might also, you could bring that yellow as well if you feel the ivory's a bit too light. So the 690 could bring some of that in. And sometimes when you bring the lights across onto the dark, you'll see you get a bit of black on the pencil. You might have to rub that off because otherwise sometimes you end up with little bits of black everywhere. Okay, through here is a bit lighter. Again, you can push harder if you want them to stand out a bit more. And this is where we had to push those, that stick into the paper. Otherwise, if you don't get the stick pushed in, you'll end up not being able to build layers over the top with your pencil. Okay, and so say through here it's a bit darker, so we can bring the yellow and brown back in rather than that the really light ivory. Some more blacks in, so you can mix it up as you're going. So just because we've worked from light to dark doesn't mean you can't bring your darks back in. Definitely using the yellow ochre sort of as it comes into the fur. And I can even see some browns in this fur here. And this light comes back over. And then sort of down through this area. It's only very subtle, but it's as the sort of, I don't know, between the eyes, it sort of sinks in. I don't even know what it's called. It's going to be darker because it's a bit of shadow. So just through this area here, even though you can hardly notice it, just there is a bit darker. So I'm going to get more of the brown in here. Okay, and then it's definitely lighter through this area. So I go both ways, I find, with my first strokes. You can go out or you can come in. Now through this area here was quite light and fairly solid. So let's make sure we get that. So hopefully you can see that. This is brighter here and it's brighter up here, but it goes a bit darker in there. So like I said, I've just achieved it by adding a bit of the brown to the strokes. You could even go a touch of yellow even. Again, I'm not pressing hard at all. Maybe a few brown ones out there, or even a touch of the pink. Okay, so hopefully that's looking all right. Lovely colours. Yep. Then down here is quite light as well, so let's get our ivory in there as well. A few little marks. I think I'll use the brown in there. Maybe even a bit of pink. Pinks, the browns, that goes dark there, which we've got. Let's keep working this light in and see how it's looking, because we can always bring more black in. Again, it's quite short through here, so I'm keeping my strokes much shorter. There's some brown in there. And that undercolor is coming through as the, you know, as that sand sort of color. So you could have done this, like I said, with if you were just using that sand colored pastel matte and had that coming through, but I felt I wanted it a bit darker than that as the base. And through here, they're really sort of short, and you could probably essentially add browns on top. A few little longer ones come over the top of these spots. Maybe again the yellow in there. Browns. Let's work our way along the eye here. Again, I'm keeping an eye on which direction these strokes are going. Sort of change of direction a little bit throughout this area. There's some couple of longer ones there too. Okay, a few light ones through here. Okay, I'm going to bring the yellow, in here a bit, I think. And maybe even the brown up here. I feel like this should be a bit more in shadow, maybe. Or I could add some more dark, some more black. Just get a few marks into this big dark spot. Have a few lighter strokes coming in. Let's get some brown in here. Back to the ivory. Okay, now is when we start to step back and have a look at it from a distance and decide if we need to make any adjustments. So I'm just going to add more black up this end. If it looks too flat in any areas, then just add more of a contrasting colour. So if you've got a really light area that you're thinking looks a bit flat, then get some browns happening in there. Same with if it's too dark, like a dark area that looks a bit flat, get some lights in there. I think I'm happy with that. It's best to look at things from a distance as well. So maybe put it aside and have a look from a distance. All right, let me just check comments. Oh, the colours are better than the photo. Thanks, Leah. The ivory really brings out the light and lifts the life of the cat, and the strength of contrast in light and dark add to this. Yes, definitely, Jenny. And I think what I love about pastels, like, it gives it that really beautiful, soft feel, as though it is fur and you can pat it. So that's what I really love. I'm going to pull this tape off because I'm calling it done. And this is another bit I love to do. So always pull away from your work. Okay, but you can see the sticky tape comes off really easily. Sorry if that's really noisy. Oh, that's stuck to me. All right. Sticky tape everywhere. Okay, I did pull towards my work once and I ripped it, so be very careful. Oh, come off. There we go. Okay. Who doesn't love that crisp edge, hey? So you can see this pastel mat was a bit dirty, but yeah, I'll see if I can't zoom in some more now I've finished. So you can see by building up just light layers, that's the trick, but you've got to be doing that on pastel mat. I'm sure the new Canson paper is probably the same, but I haven't tried it yet. Once I get my hands on some, I'll definitely share with everyone what I feel it's like. But yeah, if you're using a sanded paper, it's very hard to build layers. Okay, that's why I like pastel mat, because you can build layers, but you have to be light with them. And you can see we did a lot of layers on that actual eyeball, and it really started to come together at the end. But once you've sort of covered the paper texture, that's when it really does come into its own, where you can really push those colours and add marks. Like, I could keep going. Even now, I could come back and go, oh, I think it needs, more brown here, or more blue there, or a bit darker here. Like, I can just keep messing with it still. And I can still feel the grit of that tooth under there. So, but I'm happy with that. And by doing that really light glaze, sort of helps to blend it. And so the contrast between the fur and the eyeball, the eye you want to look wet and smooth and round, of course, whereas the fur, the texture plays a big part in helping that eye look really round and smooth compared to the fur. Okay, so big things to watch is your values with anything, of course, and your colour choices and your texture to create realism, and all those tiny little details. Alright, so yes, no worries, Lenore, you can watch the replay. Yeah, awesome, thank you. Kathy as well. Alright, I'll flick this back to me just while I okay, here I am, I'm back. Okay, so excuse the messiness behind me. This is my studio. I don't believe any art studio you see that looks beautiful, I don't believe it for a second. Anyway, okay, I'm a bit warm in here. So like I said, if you're new to me and you want to learn more with me, then the Creative Barn Essentials tier is open, and at the moment I'm offering a 50% off your first month. So it's normally $19 US a month, but if you follow the link that's in this chat, you'll get 50% off that. So it's only $9.50 US to try for the first month. And there's over 100 tutorials in there, and the membership goes from absolute beginner right through. So there's a whole module on fundamental art lessons to really get you started if you're, you know, don't know where to start and you're very new to art. And then we start to go into the pastels and all the full portraits, all of that stuff as well. So then if you decide after a month that you do want to stay in the membership, you can keep paying monthly and you can cancel whenever you want. But if you really love it and you want to maybe join up for 6 months or a 12-month plan, then it works out a lot cheaper if you do that. So check it out, follow the link, check out the pricing and all that. But for that 50% off trial, it's just for the monthly payments. And then you can contact me if you want to join for a longer period after the month, and I'll change you over. No problem at all. Okay, let me see. Hold on, sorry. All right, thank you, Farley. The comments are over there. It's so hard for me to see comments on this silly phone. So, all right, I think that's it. Sorry, I'm checking other comments here. Make sure I answered all your questions. I might have to, I'll run back through them all when I get off, and I'll type an answer if I've missed a question. Okay, so, all right, guys, let me just see over here. I think that is it. Okay, I hope you really enjoyed it. I loved it. I love drawing eyes. And like I said, I was talking in Tuesday chat about eyes, and I haven't drawn just an eye for ages. So I was really keen to do this. They're just so much fun to do. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, all of the recording will be up. If you have any questions, just contact me, message me. You can find me on the social somewhere. And yeah, I'll see you all next week for Tuesday chat, same time, 9 a.m. on Facebook, right here. And I don't know what we're talking about, but every Tuesday I do talk about anything art related. Okay? All right. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you all later. Bye.